How are we already in season 3? We are back with our 3rd season of Fearless Narratives, and we're so excited. Let's get started.
We've never seen it. We still have never seen this before. And I wanted to begin to change this narrative that women of color can't do. And then the laundry list goes on. Mm-hmm. And it's now in its 3rd year. I've left the organization. The list lives on, which I'm super, super proud about. But the list is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It was designed to send a very strong signal to the market to watch out for these incredible women of color who have big, bold ideas and who are ambitious enough to see through their ideas with action.
Welcome back to Fearless Narrative, a show that's all about the incredible stories of women who are changing the game, breaking the rules, and pushing through the boundaries to face their fears head on because they are fearless entrepreneurs and creatives, and we love to see it. I am your host, Courtlyn Jones, and on our show, we go into a deep dive into captivating storytelling and engaging conversations with these incredible women as they share how they are pursuing their passions and shattering glass ceilings along the way. We love that so much. It's so inspiring and so empowering to share these stories with you. And hopefully it will empower you to embrace your own fearless path. Our show is all about feeling the fear and doing it anyway, as well as women supporting women. We love that. We need more of that always. So before we get started, don't forget to hit the button to subscribe to our show. We also would love a nice 5-star review at the end. Without further ado, let's go into a new episode right now. Enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome back to Fearless Narratives. I am your host, Courtlyn Jones, and joining us today is Lauren Maillian, a multifaceted force in the world of business, serving as a global CEO, entrepreneur, investor, advisor, and award-winning marketer. She currently holds the role of president of digital innovation at Hero Media. Pivoting from the board chair to CEO of Digital Undivided in 2020, Lauren's vision inspired the new C-suite with Courtlyn Magazine and the InvestHER Power Series with the NASDAQ Foundation. Lauren, how are you?
I'm so good, Courtlyn. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here with you.
My pleasure. So your journey started at 19 as the co-founder of Sugarleaf Vineyards. Can you walk us through your journey and tell us how you got to where you are today?
You know, I think I've been an entrepreneur in my heart. I've been someone who's always wanted to build business, see opportunities, and always wanted to create solutions. So, you know, I started Sugarleaf Vineyards when I was 19 years old. It made me the youngest self-made winery owner in the country. I sold that company when I was 26. Immediately started company number 2. Soon thereafter, in 2011, company number 3, my early stage venture firm. And I think it's just been a constant learning process for me of figuring out the industries I want to be in, finding the people who I look up to in those industries, who I can learn from in those industries, who are blazing, new paths and creating new frontiers. And I've always wanted to be the innovator. I've always wanted to be at the forefront of things as they're changing. If you grow up as a kid and you're like, do you want to be a follower or a leader? I think I knew really early on, I really wanted to be a leader. And I wanted to be a leader that other people wanted to follow. So everything I did at Sugarleaf was rooted in that belief that, yes, I wanted to be a leader, but I wanted to be one that folks wanted to follow and that they could learn from, that they could see themselves in. And I think that is the true line of my career and kind of who I've grown up to be.
That's amazing. And I definitely agree that as young adults, we are in this space of trying to figure out to be followers or leaders. And I also felt I was always a leader at a very young age. And I didn't necessarily want to be a leader. I was afraid to be a leader because, it's a lot of pressure at times. And having that leadership role kind of just feels powerful, but it feels powerful in a way where it could be frightening because of how much power you can hold. So I'm just wondering with you, what made you want to do it at age 19 and do it so early in your life?
Opportunity presented itself. One thing about me is I seize the opportunity when I see it, when it's available to me, or when I create the opportunity for myself. And everything with Sugarleaf, everything in my life and my career has always come, at what's felt like out of left field or the inopportune time. And I believe that is a lot of what life is designed to test us to do, to challenge us, to see what will you do if there is something unknown, but an enormous opportunity in front of you. You can't sit there and go, I'd like it to come, on the time when I'm on sabbatical, or I'd like it to come when I'm on vacation, or preferably ask me to do it on a Saturday because I could do it on my personal time. It just doesn't happen that way. Half of growing and learning to lead and learning to manage and to develop business is learning to prioritize and to prioritize what's important. And if a new opportunity is in front of you, it's up to you to determine how you should lean into that opportunity, what muscles you should flex. If you should go in 100%, sometimes you should go in 200%. Sometimes you should go in 50%, right? Some things aren't your end all be all. You should be an advisor. You should be an employee. Maybe it's not your next job. Like, these are the critical thinking skills that life is designed to teach us. And I do believe that I learned those kind of critical thinking, tough decisions earlier on in my career than most. And it started when I was 19 years old. It started with the vineyard and winery. It started with this opportunity in front of me to have a 126-acre farm that was a blank canvas for opportunity. It was a complete blank canvas for opportunity. I could have had a farm. I could have had goats. I could have had chickens. I could have had a vineyard. I could have had a tree, an orchard, a nut farm. I could have done hay rides. There's like a million things. I could have put cattle. I could have put Angus and had beef. I could have put Holsteins and milked cows. I could have had cheese. I mean, there's a million things I could have done with this fertile land, 126 acres of fertile land in Monticello. And, if I allowed stereotypes or naysayers or qualifiers or criteria or traditional definitions to define me, if I allowed that to scare me, if I allowed that to intimidate me, if I allowed that to cause me to doubt myself because I hadn't done it before, I wouldn't be here today, right? It was literally, well, this opportunity is here. And I think my whole life, I've always I do this at least once a day. We just talk to God and say, like, what are you trying to teach me? What's going on here, right? Mm-hmm. And with the vineyard and winery, I remember going, why? Like, what lesson is this? Is this a lesson or is this an opportunity? And sometimes I'd say silly things like, if it's an opportunity, do this, or, a bird will poop on my car. If, this was like early days, but I was always just looking for signs. Mm-hmm. But over time, you realize that you are the sign. Mm-hmm. And I stopped looking up and going, I still look up and go, but I don't say like, give me a sign, because the sign is in front of you. Mm-hmm. The sign is that the opportunity has been put at your disposal and nobody else's. And when those sorts of things happen, it's for you. And sometimes it's not for you to know now. Sometimes it is for us to discover later.
Mm-hmm. Well said. I have definitely gone through many times where I am talking to God and asking, I need a sign, please give me a sign. And even when I started my entrepreneurial journey myself, I started it because I had to quit my old job because it was corporate and it was toxic and it was terrible. And every morning I would get up in the morning and I would feel this heavy chest pain crushing me. And I'm just thinking, I need to quit this job. I didn't want to because and obviously it's scary to, quit your job and not have a plan. But I would beg God for a sign, even though the chest pain was clearly the sign to telling me that this is not for me anymore. But I was still asking God for a sign, for anything. I asked him to show me ducks, like 3 in a row at one point. And I saw like so many ducks in a row, but I was like, I need a new sign though. So I definitely agree that like the sign really is you. Like we have to learn to trust ourselves and what, we are wanting to do and go for it. So you have created the new C-suite with Cosmopolitan magazine, which is a groundbreaking initiative. What inspired its creation, and how do you see it influencing the perception of women of color in executive roles?
So the C-suite I created when I was leading Digital Undivided, nonprofit organization. I chaired the board of directors there for many years, pivoted from board chair to being unanimously appointed CEO in COVID and the racial reckoning. So it was my first time ever coming in to lead a company that wasn't mine. It was my first time ever leading a nonprofit. But it was not my first time doing work that I deeply cared about, was passionate about, that was for the benefit of women and women of color and underrepresented founders. And I created the C-suite with my dear friend, Nancy Berger, who at the time, she's since left as well. I've left the organization. She's also left her role. She was running Hearst magazines and Cosmopolitan and many other brands under the umbrella, but Cosmo was the mainstream women's magazine that I had approached Nancy to say, hey, there are so many lists out in the world. There is, the under 40s and under 30s and top 50s and top 500s and fastest growing, 1,000 companies and all of these lists that get put out into the world that change the game for founders, that change the game for business leaders and executives and people that are looking to take their brand, their awareness to the next level. And it creates inbound opportunity, and we know it. And a lot of people might say that it's a PR game. It's, you need a publicist to get these things, what have you. You could say that a lot of that is true, sure. But what is undeniable, even if that is true, is that these lists become a calling card for founders, for inbound awareness, for inbound investor calls, new business opportunities, all those sorts of things. And while I was running the organization, I realized that there is no list in the world that highlights women of color as CEOs or C-suite leaders, not specifically women of color, and not specifically women of color who are founders, who are CEOs of their own businesses. And so I wanted to highlight the ingenuity of entrepreneurship. I wanted to highlight the innovative minds that women of color can have in building their own businesses. And so it was interesting because I created this list to be able to highlight them, create this brand awareness and this inbound opportunity for them. But also the criteria was something that had never been seen before. We had a lot of executive women who were CEOs applying for the list. And it felt really great to say, we see you, we see your hard work, we see how you're leading, we see how you're managing, and we appreciate you. But this list in particular are for women who have done really kind of the unthinkable against all odds, that have not just said, hey, I can be a CEO, but have said, hey, I'm going to build a business from scratch. It is mine. I'm going to get it up and running. I'm going to raise money. I'm going to build a team. I'm going to create operations. I'm going to create go-to-market strategy. And I'm going to stay behind to run my business as my own CEO. And so I was highlighting founders. I was highlighting women who were of color, who were technically underrepresented, right? Who were founders and CEOs of their own businesses. We'd never seen it. We still have never seen this before. And I wanted to begin to change this narrative that women of color can't do. And then the laundry list goes on. Mm-hmm. And it's now in its third year. I've left the organization. The list lives on, which I'm super, super proud about. But the list is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It was designed to send a very strong signal to the market to watch out for these incredible women of color who have big, bold ideas and who are ambitious enough to see through their ideas with action, and who know how to execute and how to show up every day to build upon their vision and build a team to do so. And that is exactly what we wanted to have happen. And it's exactly what the world is now seeing. And I also wanted to change the perception of who of color women could be in this space of women in business, right? So there's the bigger narrative that I wanted to change, but there was also a more niche narrative that I wanted to change, which was women of color. We're having a women's movement in business separate from anything else. We're not seeing a lot of women of color there. We're still talking about the lack of leadership in the Fortune 500 from Black women. We're still talking about that from women of color. We're still talking about that even against Black men. So I also wanted and intentionally went to Cosmo because it is the world's largest women's magazine, mainstream magazine. And I wanted them to highlight diversity. And I wanted them to help change the mind of their non-minority women readers to go, oh, look at that company. Oh, she looks like that and created that. I wanted to expand the horizon of potential that other people could look back and say we had, or we did, or we didn't have.
It's so amazing and so powerful. I got chills because I was just like, this is really amazing and just so empowering. And I'm just so proud of you for creating what you have, because I think it's just incredible and it's doing so many goodness for this world that we definitely need, especially right now at this time. So that's amazing. I'm so honestly so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm proud. I'm really proud of the list, and I'm proud to see how it lives on without me. It's not the same. I have a really, really, really high bar for execution and delivery and bringing things to life, production value, all the things. But it's also amazing to see that, it's taught me a lesson on creating something that I release to the world that can live on without me, because a lot of things in my career I've created as a founder where I continue to be attached to those ideas. But this was never about me. It was always about serving other women and being able to, I was never on a 30 under 30, 40 under 40 list. And I could still get on a 40 under 40 list. I haven't been on one. I've been on other lists, of all different kinds and shapes and sizes and focuses and industries. But imagine if when I had my vineyard and winery, I was on a 30 under 30 list for being 19 and starting my company. I don't know how much more money I would have made. I don't know if I would have taken on investors, if I would have had inbound investors. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have sold that business. Maybe it would have been a bigger business. Maybe I would have sold it anyway for more. I don't know, because it didn't happen, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't even know what we're losing or what we're losing out on. Whether it's money, opportunity, invitations, awareness, we have no clue, because we've never had anything that draws that much positive attention to us in the mainstream. And I had so many people ask me why I didn't go to, a Black-owned publication, and clearly I'm working in Black-owned media today, or why didn't I go to a publication that was minority-owned? And I said I didn't want to preach to the choir. This was something that I wanted to take to bigger audiences that weren't as accustomed to seeing us, that I wanted to get accustomed to seeing us in a very particular light.
Well said. Thank you for that. I definitely agree that you don't want to always have to preach to the choir. I think it's more important to go outside of that, because we already know our own struggle. We have to get that voice out there to others who don't know our struggles, to get that really, to create a real solution outside of us, because we can't do it on our own. We've tried and it's not working the same, because we need allies. We need everyone else in the world to hear us and help us as well, because that's how we get to where we need to be.
Absolutely.
So how has your experience as an entrepreneur and investor informed your approach to evaluating and empowering others?
Everything I learn, I try to share. It's just that simple. It's gotten a lot harder because I've gotten a lot busier, and I'm very extroverted. I'm very much a people person. So, the clip at which my kind of network grows, whether that's in my own connections or mentees or rising stars or collaborators or folks I want to partner with or brilliant minds. I mean, over nearly 20 years, I've amassed a lot of incredible people and talent and ability in my orbit. And I'm excited I think I'm really good at identifying when to collaborate, how to collaborate, reading the room. I believe I'm pretty self-aware. That's been helpful. And so I have a pretty intuitive sense on when people need something that I can give to them. And I'm very particular about who I give to. And I'm pretty structured in how I give what I have to give. But I've always wanted to be a leader. And leaders help other people learn. I've always wanted to help other people learn. And that network effect has been really important for me in my life. Everyone that I have helped comes back to me time and time again, and it pays itself forward in some kind of incredible way. Either they go on to be an incredible founder and they want me to advise them, and then, I've got equity in their company and their business does incredibly well, or there's something that we can work together on, or, shoot, some of my former mentees have the coolest creative jobs now and invite me to the best parties, right? And they're like, Lauren, this is totally your style. It pays itself forward in so many ways, so many ways. And it depends on how you kind of look at the world and creating your network. I'm not a transactional person. So if I transact with you, it's because I know you and like you well enough to do so, because I know that transacting with me means someone will be enriched. We'll all be enriched. But it's like, who am I inviting to the party to be enriched with me? And that's not just from a monetary standpoint. That's in experience. It's in, resume building. It's in building connections. It's in having experiences. It's being able to say that you were even a fly on the wall or that you had a seat at the table. All of these components have intrinsic value, market value, street value. And so I'm pretty thoughtful about those things. And in return, I think that people are really thoughtful about, what they want me to be a part of as well, especially when I've poured into them. Naturally, never once in my life have I had to remind somebody that they owe me by way of example, because it's not even how I operate, right? If I do something for you and it wasn't transformative enough for you to want to do something for me when the time is right, when that opportunity presents itself, I should have never done anything for you in the first place, right? I don't say to anybody, well, come back to me when. If we rock with each other, I trust that you have either learned by watching me as an example of I mirror the golden rule: do unto others as you would have others do unto you. So if the way that I'm showing up to you is not indicative of the way in which you plan to treat me, we shouldn't rock together. And I only need one of those instances to know that we shouldn't rock together.
Right.
Otherwise, there are folks, I think back to one of my mentees that's worked at a lot of different companies, worked at Robinhood, was at Apple, was at Beats, now at Amazon, crushing it. And every time they're in a new gig, they're like, hey, I got an influencer list. You're on it. I need you to have some of our product. And I also want to know, and they want me to guide them through their role or what have you. But then when they're doing something big, those are the same folks that are coming to me now going, hey, I'm over here and we have a really big opportunity. I want to collaborate with you while you're in your role at Hero Media to make this pop, right? So as much as I read the room, people who have been around me, they learn to read the room or we don't continue to rock with each other. They learn to be more self-aware or we don't hang. They learn to be appropriately transparent and honest and have some level of candor, because again, this is what I give and it's what I hope to receive. And I think the older I get, the more I'm really adept at respectfully exiting relationships that don't serve me in that way. But to date, it hasn't happened. It really hasn't. I can't think of one time where I feel like I gave to somebody who I wish I hadn't.
From president of digital innovation at Hero Media to your role as CEO at Digital Undivided, you navigate diverse aspects of business. How do you balance these roles and what perspectives do you bring to each?
I know it's a little bit of a tongue twister going from president of digital innovation at Hero Media to Digital Undivided. It's like, one minute here, 1 minute there. They're really different roles. One is rooted in creating solutions across research, program, upskilling, reskilling, and narrative change for Black and Latina women as entrepreneurs in a not-for-profit business model. And Hero Media is driving culture and performance at scale for advertisers, marketers, and the world's largest brand agencies to try to help them get to the multicultural consumer on the right screen at the right time, wherever they may be. The through line there is both have a responsibility to protect and respect the reputation and assumptions of the culture, and both play a pivotal role in how the culture can show up in industry. Digital Undivided, how you can show up in, tech, venture, private equity, social impact. Hero Media, how we can show up to marketers, agencies, brands, CMOs, chief buying officers, chief brand officers, across all platforms in media, connected TV, audio, you name it, creating content, long form, short form, podcast, video podcasts, TV shows, docuseries, documentaries, everything. It is incumbent on me as our leader to, in both situations, to make sure that the depiction of the culture is something that I would be proud of, that I would want my children to be proud of, and that is an accurate and comprehensive portrayal of who we are and what we can become and what we can produce, right? At Hero Media, as an example, we have content and food. And one comment we often get is, oh, it's not all soul food. It's like, no, it's not all soul food. Just because we're, multicultural or a Black-owned business. No, we like truffles.
Yeah.
We can go to Italy and do something, with truffles and some great gnocchi. We can go have some wonderful wine. We like sushi. We appreciate great sashimi. So we have a show called Southern, as an example. And then we have another show called Black Stars. And Black Stars is about the only 4 Black Michelin-starred chefs in the world, right? It is a very elevated concept. And it's important to us. And we're shooting that in 5K. We want it to be super crispy. We want it to look like the greatest Netflix show you've ever seen in your life. And it's got production value to match it, because it is a show that is so rare because there are only 4 Black Michelin-starred chefs in the world. That's a story that is incumbent on me to make sure that we tell, and that we tell in a high production value manner that matches the culinary expertise of these 4 rare, unique culinary unicorns in the world. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that we don't also eat soul food, but that does mean that even when we talk about soul food, the production value with which you watch that film will be the highest production value you've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Because that is the way that I want the culture to be shared, digested, and understood. So I think that is that common thread in these 2 roles. Is it's been up to me to determine how we are portrayed. It was up to me in the last role to set the tone for what Black and Latina women looked like as innovators and entrepreneurs, and how we would show up in the boardroom, and how we would show up in Silicon Valley, and how we would show up in the financial district of New York City, and how we would show up, even in my own personal work as an investor outside of any of these roles. I have my own family office and my own portfolio of consumer companies that I've invested in. And I also just took a company public a few weeks ago on NASDAQ. But in 2021, I took a company public on the New York Stock Exchange. I recognize that the way that I move in the world is also indicative of setting the tone for what other people think can and can't be true of who we are. And in both roles, I'm in a mad dash to change and substantially alter perception.
How do you do so much and then still function? That's what blows my mind. So how do you unwind and recharge? Are there any activities or self-care rituals that help you to maintain a healthy work-life balance through all of this that you are doing?
I eat dinner at the table with my family every night that I'm home. Mm-hmm. That's really important to me. We sit at a proper dinner table with beautiful tableware and setup and glasses. And I'm asking them to now put napkin rings on the table. I want a proper dinner table with my kids every night, and my husband. My mom is here visiting now, so she's obviously included at the dinner table, but we sit for proper dinner at a beautiful table. So that's really important to me, that we have that time to connect and to discuss. And I symbolically, at the end of my crazy day, I want to sit at a really nice table. So I'm also in this phase of my life where I'm creating my house like a hotel. So that's a whole other conversation, but that's how I want to live right now. So yes, our dinner table is not just throwing food on the table, and it's fine. We threw food on the table for a very long time, but at this stage of the game, I want to sit. I want to, we have all the right food groups. I want the water in a beautiful carafe with lemon. I want to have a very civilized restaurant type experience in my home with my kids, digesting their day, seeing how my husband's day was, sharing my day. Sometimes we play games, but the games we play are budgeting games, right? We're not playing, card games, or sometimes we're playing word games or telephone games or something. But that is really, really important to me. I travel with my family. It's also very important to me. I love that. In terms of my own rest and relaxation, I play a lot of tennis. I love tennis. I love working out, and I never turn down a good deep tissue massage. So I'm a massage junkie. I don't want to do anything else at the spa, but massage, including reflexology. I'm not the facial girl. I don't want any of those things. That's where I get my physical stress really, truly out, is with those great massages. So those are the things that keep my cup really full. I'm not very into material possessions. I feel I have a lot of what I want and need, but I am into experience and having the most incredible experiences, whether that's dinner table, traveling around the world, taking a road trip on a weekend. I really am in the stage of my life where those experiences, those moments with my family in particular, are how I recover.
I love all of that. I think it's really important for us as founders or as entrepreneurs or as people in general, just to find time for ourselves. I'm really bad at that. I actually had the founder of Chill House on the show like 2 weeks ago, and I've been there so many times in 2019 for so many massages because my body took a lot of hits in that year from boxing and also just from the stress. Haven't gone there in a while, but my body has been definitely in need of some self-care. So I definitely want to go back to get more massages somewhere, hopefully Chill House, because I haven't been there forever. But I do agree with you that is probably, I think, the best or one of the best ways to release a lot of your tension and a lot of your stress, to get that out of your body, because it manifests and it sticks there and it's just awful.
Well, you can also take a bath, and when you come out of the bath, you can listen to binaural beats and fall asleep very peacefully. It's another great thing you can do. You can take a bath, you could do a couple stretches and lay down and listen to binaural beats and have the best sleep possible and wake up feeling a ton better the next day. Wherever you can fit it in, get it in, but take care of yourself.
Yep. You also have an advisory role for Pipeline Angels, The Folklore, DM, and others. What qualities do you look for in the brand and entrepreneurs you choose to support?
That they're doing great work and that their time requests match my time availability, and that I believe that I can be strategically or tactically helpful to helping them accomplish the goals that they have for the period of time that we intend to work together.
And being the first Black woman to start an early stage venture capital fund is incredible. How did you navigate the challenges and break barriers in an industry that historically lacked diversity?
Results, performance. That's it, yeah. Performance. I have a $5 billion market cap portfolio that I've been planting mustard seeds in for the last 12 years, and I'm 38 years old. Performance and track record. Investing in the venture capital private equity world is a proof is in the pudding kind of business. There's not much, talking your way. Sure, you can raise money and talk your way through, but once you've exhausted that money and the performance doesn't speak for itself, there's only so many times you can go back to the well for more water. So, for me as an investor, I've invested mostly my own capital. Gen Y Capital did well. It was early. It was really early in the marketplace. I don't think it did as well as it would have if we were launching it today, but it also allowed me to learn how to become an even better investor. And now I've gone on and done private equity deals on my own. I've taken companies public in a SPAC on my own. I've really leaned into being a multi-stage investor, and my ability to execute and get things done and have a track record and a portfolio performance that speaks for itself is certainly something that sets us apart, sets me apart in the work that I do.
So what guiding principles or strategies do you employ when evaluating potential investments?
The considerations are so different. It depends on if it's an early stage company, a later stage company, a growth stage company. But I look for opportunity, and I look for, when I say opportunity, I look for businesses that are in the consumer space that need something that I can bring to the table, and that I believe have the potential to create new lines of business, or where there is hidden value that they are not seizing that I can help them discover and capitalize on. That's what I look for.
Well said. Thank you for that. You've also been recognized on prestigious lists such as the 2022 Create and Cultivate 100 and the 2021 Worth Magazine's Worthy 100. How do you define success personally, and what milestones are you most proud of in your career?
Oh, goodness. How do I define success personally? Is doing what you love and being able to profit from that. at very high levels, with high levels of enjoyment. So that would be success for me. Doing what you love, being able to just show up and genuinely do what you love and make a lot of money doing it with ease.
Yeah.
And sorry, your second question?
And what milestones are you most proud of in your career?
I think the milestone I'm most proud of is just taking a company public. I'm the youngest woman now to take a company public through a SPAC on any exchange. And at 36, our SPAC went public on the New York Stock Exchange, which made me the youngest woman to take a SPAC public. Not a company, not just any company. Obviously, Whitney Wolfe Herd has that. And hats off to her for taking Bumble public, of course, many years ago or several years ago now. But SPACs, special purpose acquisition companies, are pretty sophisticated financial vehicles that aren't really navigated often by women, aren't started by women, aren't funded by women, aren't run or led by women at all. And so I'm part of the first and only all women led SPAC group called Athena. And the second SPAC is Athena Consumer. So we took public a consumer company. And at 36, we took the SPAC public on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker ACAQ on NYSE. And just a month and a half ago, 5 weeks ago exactly, on October 20, we took public and closed our combination with Ego Mobile Electric Vehicles, and we listed Ego as EGOX on NASDAQ. So, the market is really tough. The stock is, fighting just like all the other stocks are out there. But we did something as a group of women that, groups of men have not been able to do. You've had a lot of SPACs in the market that are liquidating, that are completely shutting down, that are utilizing all of the risk capital that's been raised to pay their legal bills, and everybody walks away at a loss. And we closed a deal in an unthinkable market. We closed an electric vehicle deal while we had everything going on in the Middle East, with Israel and Palestine, that was also impacting the market, that was also impacting oil markets that were completely out of our control. And we still closed the deal, and we still rang the bell, and we still got it done. So sometimes it's just about being able to say that you completed something. And, it's a long game. This is a long game. We'll be supporting this company for years to come, tracking it for years to come. This is just the beginning, but it is such a crucial step that so many other SPACs have not been able to achieve. So to be able to close that deal, despite all odds, in the biggest deal of my career, both in the transaction size, but also in the amount of money that I put at risk in investment to make it happen. I don't know where this deal will take me in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. We'll see.
I'm excited for you. So, bonus question. When was the last time that you felt fearless? A time when you were afraid, but you did it anyway, and then how did it turn out?
Fearless. I mean, that would either be the 2 times I birthed my children or the time I sent the biggest wire in my life. But it might also be when I bought my house all cash. That was a thing.
Wow.
That was a thing. And that was a, oh, wow, for sure.
Yeah.
It was I felt empowered. I felt pretty fearless. It felt like the absolute right decision. I think those are between personal and professional buckets. Like those are them.
Those are good ones. Okay. You've also been recognized as a trailblazer and influencer. Who are some individuals, whether historical or contemporary, who have inspired and influenced your leadership style and approach to life?
Melody Hobson, hands down, if I had to choose one. There are several for different reasons, but Melanie Hobson is over at Ariel Investments. Self-made woman. I have a lot of respect for how she grew up and how she defied the odds and stereotypes. She sits on so many boards, Starbucks, DreamWorks, so many others, and is an absolute force of nature.
Love that. So in addition to your professional achievements, you've been a co-star on Oxygen's Quit Your Day Job and co-host of CNBC's The Unstoppables. How do you leverage media platforms to amplify your advocacy and influence positive change in the business landscape? A hard question.
By bringing out stories of other people and helping to promote other people feeling comfortable sharing their greatest wins and accomplishments.
Now, is there any advice for the audience to share with those who are trying to follow in your footsteps as entrepreneurs, as advocates for women, or whatever you want to offer us today?
Be you, be bold, and go forth unafraid, which happens to be my high school motto for the school I went to Dalton. It's, go forth unafraid. And it's, it's something that I kind of live by. Just keep going.
Love that. And then lastly, how can our audience find you?
I'm at Lauren Maillian, LAUREN MAILLIAN on social media everywhere. I have a LinkedIn newsletter. I'm a LinkedIn influencer. I have a bi-weekly newsletter there on kind of all things marketing, media, investing, my journey in my life, being ambitious and reaching your goals. I have a personal newsletter at laurenmaillian.com that's also bi-weekly. I'm on Instagram and all other social channels at Lauren Maillian, and would love to hear from the audience.
Thank you, Lauren, for joining me today. You have been truly inspiring. Your story, your life is incredible, and I'm so happy to talk to you today.
Thank you so much, Courtlyn. It's been awesome to be here with you. I really appreciate the invitation. I hope it's been helpful for your audience, your listeners. Please, be in touch with Courtlyn, drop notes, be in touch with me. Would love to hear how this episode was hopefully transformative in your listeners' life.
Thank you so much. And that is a wrap. Fearless Narratives airs every Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. Thank you for joining us today. You have been an amazing audience, and we really love your support. So we also would love for you to give us a nice 5-star review. And until next time, stay fearless.